beautiful little unicorns, and welcome back to my channel. If this is indeed the first time that I've been given the pleasure to welcome you onto my channel, I'm Vanessa Somuayina and welcome to the fam. Guys, I'm so excited and pumped to be filming this reading for you today because the energy in the room is just right, and I just feel like today's insight is going to be invaluable. So in today's reading, we're going to be figuring out how you can make the year 2020 the best year of your life. Yes, you heard right. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you a ton of tips and tricks and just giving you insight as to what I see for you for the upcoming year and how you can just make the most of it. So in order to help you figure out how you can make 2020 the best year of your life yet, I have prepared 4 groups that you may choose from, and I would like you to pick one of these 4 groups intuitively. So just go with whatever group feels right. Go with whichever crystal that you feel really resonates with you. And because there are so many new unicorns joining the fam each and every single day, I just wanted to point out that you can in fact feel drawn to multiple groups. So if that is the case for you, then feel free to tune into multiple readings, because your personal reading, it may be a mixture between multiple groups, and there are just some days, some situations where you need a little more guidance than from one group. So the crystals are as follows. We have the rose quartz, we have the pyrite, we have the azurite, as well as the black obsidian. But as usual, the timestamps are provided in the description box as well as pinned to the comment section for quick and easy access from your laptop or your mobile devices. I feel so official saying your mobile devices. And in case you haven't noticed, today we have a new crystal point bottle. I absolutely love this model. This is a black obsidian point. It is completely eco-friendly, which is one thing that I struggle with, and I try to be as environmentally friendly as I can, and just using glass bottles is a way how I can make sure that I'm limiting my plastic consumption. So I just wanted to put that out there. That is another thing that we should be thinking about in the year 2020. Sustainability, you know, what are we consuming, what are we using? But you guys, for this, the link is down below, but there's so many different ways how you can be more sustainable. I think it's the little everyday effort that counts. So I don't know how we got from me wanting to show you guys my latest bottle to sustainability, but that is it for the intro, okay? I'm going to stop talking in the intro now and save the talking for the individual groups. So I will be starting off with the first group. The first group corresponds to the rose quartz, and to all the other groups, I will catch you at the click of your timestamp. Hello group number 1, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the rose quartz group number 1, and I want to get straight into your reading. This is the stone of love and friendship, in case you were wondering, but let's see exactly what is going on in correlation to love and friendship as well, and figure out how you can make this upcoming year the best year of your life. So first and foremost, we have the 10 of acorns. So in the 10 of acorns, one thing that I see is dedication as well as responsibilities. So group number 1, it is probably going to be extremely essential for you to dedicate enough time, love, and effort to a lot of the responsibilities that you may have been putting off. So that could be helping friends and family, that could be managing your personal finances a lot more than you ever have before, you know, actually keeping track, creating spreadsheets. But let's see what else we have within your reading. I always make sure I include cards that pop out during shuffling. So we have the page of acorns as well as the 3 of acorns. So group number 1, in the page of acorns, one thing that I see here is that you need enthusiasm for these things. So like I said, personal finances, actually making sure you start creating those spreadsheets and keeping track of your spending habits. You need enthusiasm, you need motivation, you need a reason why you're doing this, and it is essential for you to take time to discover. So by journaling, for instance, you can discover your motives and your motivation behind the things that you do, and also behind the things that you've been putting off. Maybe you're not as motivated to finally clean up that chair that is littered with clothes. Maybe the motivation isn't there because it's convenient. But if you have a new motivation, for instance, just having a organized, beautiful space where you're not just pushing something into a corner. You know, that may be motivation enough for you to finally start to make that change. But if there's no reason to really make the change, if you're not making it like uncomfortable for yourself, you're most likely not going to make that change. Then in the 3 of Acorns, one thing that I see here is you have to be really honest with yourself, group number 1. So if you know that it's very hard for you to clean up or to stick to a fitness regimen, to a diet, then make it very clear to yourself that, hey, I know you, which you're talking to yourself. So it's kind of like, I know me. You guys get what I mean? So you're like, hey, Vanessa, I know you. You don't like working out. You don't like working out early in the morning. And we just got to be honest with each other. And these New Year's resolutions are probably not going to get you to where you are trying to go. So don't do New Year's resolutions. Try by setting up new habits. Try to set up habits where you wake up every morning and you just do 5 minutes of exercise, or you just go on a quick 5-minute stroll, and then we're going to build up from there. But be honest with yourself and don't say, for instance, okay, in the new year, I'm gonna go cold turkey vegan, or I'm gonna go to the gym every single day. If you know that that is not you, group number 1, just be honest with yourself and give yourself the chance to actually succeed. Because when you just set the bar way too high for yourself and the person that you know you are and the things that you know you're not going to do, then of course you're going to fail, and you're going to be here the same time next year thinking to yourself, where did my New Year's resolutions go? Then we have the 7 of Feathers as well as the 10 of Feathers. So in the 7 of Feathers, one thing that I see here is that you have to prepare, be resourceful with what you have. So if you, for instance, want to make sure that you prepare for a healthier lifestyle, start to inform yourself now, start to do research, read books, maybe even participate in some online classes where you can learn to be healthier, to meal prep. Another thing that you can do here with being resourceful is just looking around in your house, because a lot of us, we own a lot more stuff than we realize. For instance, I own so many more self-help books and books about things that interest me, like for instance, the stock market or just marketing in general in business. And those are all things where I'm like, oh, I really want to learn more, and I completely forgot about those books that I have not read or I have not reread because there was information in there that I maybe wanted to write down, and I would just go out and maybe buy a new book. You know, that has happened to me before, where I could have been resourceful and I could have just used what is around. So don't allow that to happen to you. One thing that I see for you in 2020 is that you can really make the most of the year by just using what you have. You don't need new things. You don't need to continue consuming. As we spoke about in the intro, it is so important to try and focus on just using what you have till it's not usable anymore, till it's either broken or it's sort of done its job and it's just not doing the job as well as it could. That is the only time when you should go out and get something new. But as I said, a lot of us, we own so much more than we even realize. And in the 10 of Feathers, I want you to know that that will completely transform your mindset. So 2019 was a really crazy year for me. It was very transformational. It was very scary. And the person who I used to be is just no longer here anymore for me. I have gone through this transformation where, because I didn't even have time to think about consuming, I have learned a new side of myself where I don't need something new all the time. I don't need to constantly have like an order waiting to arrive at my house. I don't need to constantly be buying something new at the grocery store to try out. I'm happy with what I have, and I'm happy with also just for a little bit doing what works, what I know is going to work, and looking for alternatives that are more sustainable instead of just the rush of getting something new. I look for things that I know I'm going to use and love instead of sales and looking for things that are just going to give you that quick high. I look for things that actually have meaning. That is if I'm shopping. But maybe you've noticed group number 1 by now. I wear the same shirt in a lot of the videos, and it has logic behind it because I don't want to waste time looking for something to wear because I have not purchased many things and I just think it's aesthetically pleasing. And hey, I have a washing machine, so I might as well make use of it, right? But actually, actually, I want to add one more tarot card here to your top row. We have the Queen of Feathers. So we have a lot of feathers here. The feathers correspond to air signs, and in the Queen of Feathers, there is somebody who wants to know the truth. There is somebody whose perception cannot be clouded by just seeing things through a rose-colored lens. So this might be you, group number one. You might be of an air sign, or these air sign traits are going to be very prevalent where you're trying to be more logical in the year 2020. And one thing that will make this year the best year ever is to just not even allow yourself to have your perception be altered. Don't allow the media to make you think that the most important thing is how you look, or the most important thing is having that newest item, gadget, eyeshadow palette, whatever it is that is being pushed. You do not need it. Change your perception to you having everything that you need already, because media just always makes us crave. It always makes us think that there's still something out there that we need to be perfect or to be happy, which is not true. Happiness can be found within, and that is one thing that I want you to focus on in the year 2020, group number one. I see that that is of so much value and importance. So I'm going to be moving on in your reading. We have hidden blessings. So there are so many hidden blessings coming for you, and a way how you can sort of extract those out of the hidden realms is by you just allowing yourself to, as I said, transcend from who you are now to somebody who is more happy with the simple things, to somebody who is more happy with closer to nothing than more. Do you understand what I mean, group number one? Like, you're more happy about the little things in life and just experiences than you are about acquiring nice things, which I'm the first one to admit, of course, I love the earthly realms. I love things that are handcrafted, that are beautifully made. But at the same time, it is invaluable to be in a place in your life where you know that you don't need that to be happy. You know, there's an inherent difference with that. Then we have emergence, as well as reflective truth. So in emergence, one thing that I see here is that creating in 2020 is going to get you to a point where you're so proud, you're so happy about your accomplishments, about yourself and your development, that will infuse you with a lot of that happiness that you may be craving from buying things, from going out to eat or to drink or whatever it is that you like to do, which is not bad. We all need to go out sometimes. We all need to allow ourselves to just consume every now and then. But as I said, it is going to take on a whole different role and a whole different place in 2020 for you. It's going to be so much less important. And in the reflective truth, one thing that I see here in the reflective truth, not truth, one thing that I see here is that acceptance, self-love, just your identity is going to increase in a way how you're going to feel more stable with yourself. And one thing that you can do here to make the year 2020 the best year is to manifest positive thoughts and to reprogram your mind to where it needs to be. So group number one, when you walk past the mirror, like every time unfailingly, give yourself a compliment. Tell yourself, I'm smart, I'm witty, I'm beautiful, and I'm lovable. It actually makes such a difference. When I started to do that at the beginning, it was so cringeworthy. I was like, no. But then after a while, you start getting used to it and you actually start to believe it subconsciously as well. Because what happens when you don't believe it is you kind of subconsciously know that you don't believe it, because subconsciously your mind is still programmed to think, oh, I'm not that lovable, etc. We're not even going to go into that negativity. But as I said, so then it feels weird, it feels wrong. But the more you repeat it, the more you start to make yourself believe that that is true, the more you're going to get to a point where self-love just comes so naturally, and real self-love. As we spoke about with indulging in things, obviously just eating a pack of donuts, that is not self-love, because you're not taking care of yourself. You're not doing what's best for your body. Self-love for you is to actually 100% accept yourself, even the things that you don't like or didn't like about yourself. Let yourself know that, hey, this is how I am, and it actually does serve a purpose. For instance, I have this one toe that is, I call it my crippled toe, okay? It looks like that. It's not very cute looking, and it always made me feel kind of like, not ashamed, but I was just like, why do you have to be like this? But today I'm like, without my toes, without that toe as well, I couldn't keep balance. I have to take care of each and every one of my body parts, because my feet, my legs, they help me walk every day, and that in itself is a gift, because When you start to remember just how gifted you are for your vision, for your hearing, for your ability to feel and be empathetic, that is when you start to see life as a whole as something just so much more miraculous and beautiful, and you start to not sweat the small stuff so much. But of course, there are always triggers. Everybody has different triggers. Everybody has different people in their life who can just push that one button that make you set off fireworks of passionate, maybe yelling, crying, dissatisfaction. But you have to learn to control that bit by bit. That is one thing that you need in the year of 2020, group number one, just that self-control and self-love to tell yourself, I don't need to do that. I can be happy, pleasant, and just feel blessed, leaning back and being relaxed. I'm not going to let anything bother me in 2020. Then we have listen to your body. So that is one thing that I definitely see you using as a tool to allow you to make 2020 the best year ever. I feel like maybe you've been neglecting your body's needs, or maybe there's something that you know you should have done a long time ago that you failed to do. So that could be going to the doctor's office to get blood work done, maybe get something checked out that seems off to you, maybe something on your skin, maybe feeling that you've been having some sort of symptom. And of course, you always have to take everything with a grain of salt and with a little bit of caution, group number one. Physical practitioners, they are experts. I am not a physical practitioner or a doctor, but one thing that I have looked into and researched is just the effect that your mind can have on your body. Oftentimes we have symptoms that show themselves on our physical body, in our system, that can be cured with a shift of our thinking, with a shift of who we are internally. Because as soon as you shift who you are internally, that is when you can shift how your body works as well. Because if you internally are a happy, grateful person, you don't hold on to fear or resentment, every cell of your body feels that. Every cell of your body is healthier and is happier. So the result of that is you getting sick less often, you not feeling a chronic pain as bad as you usually would. There are a lot of examples where it has been proven that the mind is so powerful that it can actually change things. So make sure that in the year 2020, if you get advice from a physical practitioner, get a second opinion and also do your own research. Try, if it's nothing urgent, okay? I'm not saying if you come into the ER room for some reason with an emergency that you should go home and research. That is not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying if it's something that's been lingering, if it is a symptom, don't just take something to numb the pain. Actually work on where it's coming from, because if not, the pain will just show itself in other places and the issue will continue to grow and prevail. You get what I mean, group number one, because you guys are so smart. I just love all my beautiful unicorns because you always understand what I'm trying to say, even when my English is not the best. So then last but not least, we have seek seclusion. So in seeking seclusion, I see that the best way how you can make 2020 the most amazing year of your life is to take a lot of time just secluded from people. 2020 is a transformational year for you. That is one thing that I see in the 10 of feathers. It is another milestone in your personality where you will never be the same again. In a good way, group number one. And I want you to take time to just get away from people, to take time to get away from what you know, because that is the only way how you can change who you are. When you're constantly around the same people, doing the same things with the same routine, nothing is going to change. So I definitely see that switching up your environment, switching up where you are mentally, looking at yourself objectively is going to give you the chance to really make the most out of that transformation, and also to remember to be resourceful of what it is that you already have. All of those books that you already have. Maybe you will finally realize like, hey, I've got a laptop, I've got a phone. These are like devices that I can do so much with. I can start my own business. I can do my own creative venture. I can research into topics for days and months and become an expert at something new. You will all of a sudden start to see life unfolding almost like a rose that is just blooming and blossoming into something where you're like, wow, okay, this is 2020 for me. This is an amazing year. I've really made the most of it. And that is the feeling that you will have at the end of 2020. You will think to yourself, it has been transformational. It has brought so many challenges, but also opportunities. And I took those opportunities and I learned and I built. So group number 1, this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you found it motivational, insightful, and that it gave you a little bit of peace of mind. So if you enjoyed this reading, let me know down below in the comment section what really hit home, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello group number 2 and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Pyrite group number 2. The Pyrite is also known as the Fool's Gold. It is a stone of financial abundance as well as just prosperity in general. So that may be why you chose it. Maybe 2020 is going to be an exceptionally prosperous year for you, but let's look into your reading to figure out exactly how you can make it that prosperous, amazing year. So first and foremost, we have the wheel. So in the wheel, one thing that I see is a lot of change and possibility. So know that for possibility to arise, change is essential. There's no other way how you will have new possibilities in your life. If you keep doing the same thing each and every day of your life, of course, there may be an opportunity to win the lottery or for somebody to come up to you and give you this chance that seems once in a lifetime, but it's only once in a lifetime if you allow it to be once in a lifetime. Group number 2, I see that you have to spin your wheel to allow for more opportunities and possibilities to present themselves. So you're probably asking yourself, Vanessa, how do I spin this wheel? Okay, so I will explain to you. Of course, if you do everything each day the same, you wake up at the same time at 7 a.m. whenever you wake up, and you have your breakfast, you get ready, you go to your job, you come back, you watch TV, you go to bed. On the weekends you party, you meet friends, and that was it for your weekend. Maybe you do a little bit of shopping. So obviously I'm just making an example of an extraordinarily mundane kind of routine. But if you now insert learning, self-discovery, actually putting yourself out there, trying to accomplish new things, to see new things, all of a sudden things change and things shift. So if you want to, for instance, have more financial abundance in your life, of course, the only way you can create opportunity is by you educating yourself, trying out new things. Try out these platforms where you can create a blog, a YouTube channel, an online shop, some sort of trading account. Read into it, look into it, actually start making mistakes. That is one thing that I want you to know is so important for you, group number 2, because without learning and the learning pains, the growing pains that come, and all the mistakes, you will never be able to have success. I made so many mistakes. I made so many errors during my filming for YouTube, during building my online store. I have had so many other things that I have done prior to now in my life that prepared me for this, that prepared me to have you on board in the Unicorn Fam, that prepared me to have a channel that grows, that helps people, an online store where I can know that, yes, okay, I made something that is successful. There was so much trial and error behind this, and that is what a lot of people fail to realize because it is just not shown. But I'm telling you because we're close like that. So next up in your reading, we have the Hanged Man. So in the Hanged Man, I see that exactly that. You have to be patient, group number 2. It's essential for you to know that things won't happen overnight, okay? You won't financially go from 0 to $1 million overnight, unless, of course, you win the lottery, as already mentioned. But the possibility for that is so small. The way how you can make 2020 the best year of your life and the most prosperous is by allowing yourself to grow steadily, and also to know that each day that you take a step towards your goal, you're getting closer, but it takes time, okay? And you have to shift your perspective from wanting things quickly to knowing that, okay, if I do something that I'm passionate about, that I know the world needs, that I know will give people value, everything else that I want will come. Freedom, financial freedom, maybe freedom to have your own schedule, freedom of where you live, where you work from, freedom to spend more time with friends, family, maybe your children or your pets like me, and know that that will follow. But you have to be persistent and dedicated and shift your perspective to not pressuring yourself. Then in the world, I see fulfillment. So group number 2, the year 2020 is going to be an amazing year of fulfillment for you, and know that 2020 when you reduce the numbers, when you put them together, kind of, I'm not sure how to say it in English, to be honest, but you get the number 4, okay? And the number 4, a lot of people say that that's an unlucky number because it has to do with work, that in correlation to your choice in the mineral, and also just the direction that your reading is going into. I can see a prosperous time for you financially and a time of fulfillment, so long as you allow it to happen and as you actually dedicate time and effort towards trying, towards creating, towards making sure that you change your routine. Because if you're a little bit not unhappy, but okay, maybe you're dissatisfied, honestly, maybe you're dissatisfied with where you are financially or academically or in your personal life, and you want it to change. The only way how it will change is by you changing, group number 2, okay? There's no other way. You have been doing what you've been doing up until this point, and it hasn't given you the result that you want. So if it hasn't given you the result that you desire, you have to try something else. And that is one thing that I encourage you to do to make 2020 the best year of your life. You're going to learn such a phenomenal amount of different ways to create the life that you want, that you're going to think to yourself, wow, like even if I'm not at my biggest target goal at the end of 2020, I am confident that I have the tools to get there. I'm confident that I know where I'm going. So this kind of feeling of knowing where you're going, that is one thing that I see that will give you that ultimate fulfillment, because you're like, yes, okay, I know how to create my dream life. I just need to keep doing it. But that will take a little bit of time to get to that point, group number 2. Then in transformation, I see here obviously a form of liberation where you're like, yes, okay, I am free. I finally do not need to rely on my parents anymore, on my partner. Maybe I don't have to rely anymore on thinking that I can't do better, okay? And that is one thing that a lot of us feel like we just put ourselves in a situation where we're studying something, or we're in a job, or we're in a relationship where we're not 100% satisfied, and instead of changing something about it or changing it entirely, we just like rely on the fact like, okay, well, if I go out there, I might not achieve anything anyways, so I might as well stay where it's safe. And that is where I see transformation happening. You're going to become a little bit of a daredevil, group number 2. You're going to become a little bit of somebody who wants to try new things and actually goes out and does it, which is amazing. That is what will bring you the change that you desire and the change that you so desperately need. But let us move further into your reading to see what else is looming and how else you can really transform this year. So we have a releasing as well as majestic eminence. So in releasing, one thing that I see here is purification as well as spiritual cleansing. So group number 2, in releasing, I want you to keep in mind that spiritual cleansing is one thing that cannot be replaced by literally anything, okay? Spiritual cleansing has a lot to do with the art of letting go, with not being resentful, and just knowing when to put something to rest, knowing when it's not worth fighting a battle, also internally, because oftentimes we're okay on the outside, or we say we're okay, we say we're cool, we say, okay, you know what, I'm just not even gonna let it bother me. But internally, we're still bothered for hours, days, weeks, months, okay, and sometimes even years. And know that that sort of resentment, that sort of anger, when you let it fester, it can become very toxic. It can actually cause your body to do things that would make you maybe physically ill, that would maybe make you mentally ill, and you won't even realize where it's coming from because it's been festering for so long. And this is not your fault, group number 2, okay? Maybe you've been through something that just happened that is no fault of your own. Maybe as a child you were, I don't even want to say it, you know, we all know these horrible things that have happened to children where they've been abused or molested, or maybe you also just never really felt the love or the appreciation from your friends and your family. And you know, that hurts deeply, that cuts deep, group number 2, and it can really affect you for the rest of your life. But in 2020, you're going to make that decision to not be the victim of any of these circumstances, to not be the victim of the bullies that brought you down, to not be the victim of that person who did something terrible to you when you were in a vulnerable state, when you were in a state where you could not protect yourself, to not be the victim of maybe having allowed resentment of a past mistake that you may have made to stick with you till this point in time. And when you liberate yourself from that mentality of this victim mode, when you tell yourself, look, right now, my life is in my hands. What happened before happened, and it's unfortunate, but if I allow it to keep affecting me, I will never be able to create and live the life that I want to live. So am I going to continue allowing it to affect me and just basically tell myself, well, that's how it is, I can't do anything because, I'm dealing with this or that mentally? Or am I going to kick it in the ass and say to myself, hey, I have so much potential, I have such a beautiful life that is worth living, and I'm still gonna go after what I want. So I don't want you to allow any mistakes or experiences to take over your life or to win the upper hand, because then it's almost like you're letting evil win. Then it's almost like you're letting negativity win. And the alternative is for you to make sure that positivity is what takes over your life. Self-belief, self-love, making sure that you're making the most out of it, that when you're in your old age and you're ready to leave this earthly realm, like, hey, I tried everything I wanted to try. I lived my life the way I wanted to live it, and I never let anything stop me. So group number 2, I see a very inspirational transformation happening for you in the year 2020. Then we have hidden blessings. So this will come with blessings that you may have never expected, blessings that are hidden in areas of your life that you may have not looked at for a very long time. So maybe you haven't really analyzed the relationship with your loved ones, but blessings are coming to you as long as you're able to see them. So for instance, all of a sudden your relationship getting a lot better with your parents, with your partner, and I want you to have gratitude for each and every one of these blessings, no matter how small they seem, or no matter how little you realized that they were there or needed to be in your life before. Then we have get clear as well as alternative. So group number 2, in alternative, one thing that I see here is that it is so essential for you to not feel the pressure of having to do everything in a very certain sort of carbon copy way. And this is driving me crazy, okay? I need balance within the reading. So don't feel like you have to do things the way society has written it out to be done. Don't feel like in order to become a successful business person, you have to go to this college and you have to get that degree and you have to get this internship. There are so many people, actually a lot of the most successful people in the world, their driving force was not where they came from academically. Their driving force is not what society says a typical business person should be. This is obviously just an example. Their background came from sheer motivation, willpower, determination, and knowing who they are and what the best route is for them to go on. So group number 2, learn about you. Learn about who you are, learn about what would be the most beneficial for you to incorporate into your life to be more successful and more happy in 2020. So 2020 is all about you, is all about you sort of figuring out exactly what the path of least resistance is for you, the path of least resistance in terms of this really works for me, meditating really works for me, learning more about spirituality really works for me, going out, doing things the way I want to do it really works for me. So that kind of process is what will make 2020 so prosperous. And in Get Clear, that is exactly what I am trying to tell you. You have to get clear about what works, what doesn't work, and don't discriminate, okay? Because sometimes we know exactly what works for us and what doesn't, but because there's so many eyes on us from our friends, from our family, just from society, from our community, we're afraid to do what we actually want to do because, as I said, there are people watching, there are people who will have opinions, but you have to forget about that, group number 2. You have to say to yourself, oh, like living your life according to what society says I should do can't relate. Like that is you, 2020, group number 2. Just forgetting about limitations of other people and limitations that this sort of energy that can be around us may set upon us. So know that you have to take time to just get clear about what you want and also be honest with yourself. Like, hey, if I keep listening to my friends and family, am I going to accomplish my goal? If I keep living my life the way I've been living it, am I going to get to where I want to get? Be honest with yourself, and if the answer is no, make the necessary changes. But it's so important for you to first be honest. So moving further into your reading, we have the root portal as well as celestial assistance. So in celestial assistance, one thing that I want you to look out for is, for instance, angel numbers, is for instance, just reoccurring synchronicities that keep popping up. And I want you to know that this is often the universe or your guides trying to communicate something with you. People will say it's a coincidence, but it is there's much more to life. There's so many laws that we don't even understand, that we can't even comprehend, but we just say they're coincidences because as humans we can't comprehend what is going on here and why these synchronicities are happening, why something is being pointed out to us over and over again. And it seems weird, it seems like too much to be a coincidence, and it most likely is too much to be a coincidence. But as for right now, without us yet being able to understand every little coincidence, every little synchronicity that happens within our life, I want you to just know that it is a sign. I want you to just take it, run with it, and allow it to shape and form your life. And in the root portal, I see here that you have to not be fearful, okay? You have to have that drive, that vitality to want to create more stability in your life through using your intuition, through using this communication that you have with the universe as well as your angels. So how can you create more stability? You can create more stability by not questioning yourself, by allowing yourself to follow the path that seems more natural to you, by allowing yourself to give yourself vitality through finally waking up when you've always wanted to wake up, nurturing your body properly, working out, making sure that you're just, how should I say, thriving as a human being. Our species, each species has their own habits, has their own diet that it needs in order to thrive, and it's the same for us. And it's the same thing that gives us that physical vitality that we're going to need in order to even see these signs, in order to even realize what is going on around you. If your body is full of junk, if you eat a lot of unhealthy foods, if you consume alcohol very often, and you're just sort of numbing your senses, you will not properly be living. You will not properly feel everything that is going on within you. And that is one thing that I see that will really open up the year 2020 for you, group number 2. Allowing yourself to feel, allowing yourself to be present, to be mindful, and to clear yourself of anything that is clouding your judgment. So group number 2, this is a reading that I received for you. I truly hope that it gave you insight and also inspired you, and that it gave you peace of mind. So if it did, leave a little comment down below, as well as subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in one of my upcoming readings. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Azurite, group number 3, and I want to move straight into your reading to figure out exactly what you can do in order to make the year 2020 the best year of your life yet. So let's see what we have for you. We have the 7 of crystals first and foremost. So in the 7 of crystals, one thing that I see here is that you have to consider all your options in order to make sure that you get the best possible outcome and results for the year 2020. So group number 3, I'm not trying to discriminate, I'm not trying to call you out, but maybe there are certain options in your life that you didn't even consider, or just sort of moved away, swept under the rug because you felt as though, well, that's probably not going to work anyways, or that's probably not going to give me what I desire. But I see that those options are very essential for you to look at again in the year 2020. So if you, for instance, wanted to become a blogger, a YouTuber, maybe you wanted to start your own business, or maybe it was very important for you to consider trying to get academic growth in order to get to that next stage in your career, in your professional life. But you thought to yourself, well, it's probably going to take a lot of time and energy and money, and then I still don't know whether I'm going to succeed or not, and there's so many people already doing it, and I'm not sure, and this and that. And group number 3, no, okay? Now is the time where you have to go back and look at those options that you have in order to create what you want for your life and reconsider. That is one thing that I want you to do to make the year 2020 the best year yet, group number 3. And then we have the 10 of acorns. So in the 10 of acorns, I want you to take full responsibility of 2020. So if you have been in the past telling yourself, well, I can't be successful because the room temperature isn't right. I can't be successful because I don't have enough money to do what I wanted to do, or oh well, you know, I can't really reach my dreams right now because I'm occupied with X, Y, and Z, which, you know, sometimes okay, but most of the time we're making up excuses because we're actually scared and procrastinating taking the next step towards our goals and actually dedicating that time and effort to making the best of our situation. We always find obstacles, we always find why nots when we're scared. And that is one thing that I feel with you, group number 3. I feel like fear has ruined a lot of things for you. I feel like fear has held you back from a lot of different opportunities and options because you thought to yourself, I don't have the time, or there's some other reason why you couldn't do it, but that was just you trying to mask the fact that maybe you're afraid. But 2020, it's over for fears, okay? In the 9 of shells, I see fulfillment. I see that you are now ending the cycle of fear and you're moving on to the one where you actually go after things regardless of how scary they may seem, just because you know that that is the only way that you will get to fulfillment. And that is why 2020 brings fulfillment with you, because you're finally overcoming one of your biggest obstacles in life, one of your biggest challenges, which is the fears that have been holding you back from creating exactly what you've always wanted to create. Then in the Ace of Crystals, I see manifestation being able to help you. So we have quite a few crystals here, which may have to do with an earth sign. There could be an earth sign helping you out, or maybe you helping yourself as an earth sign is just a clear symbol towards the fact that you are changing things in the earthly realms for yourself. And manifestation is a very powerful tool. I can really vouch for that from my own experience. It has brought me a lot of prosperity, and it has brought me a lot of growth in life, you know, as a person, finances, all of those different things. And I want you to know that you can do the same. There is nothing stopping you from that other than a lack of dedication, lack of taking responsibility, that all you need to do is invest time each and every day to manifest in order to create a completely different life, group number 3. And I want you to know that it's okay if you haven't done it until now and you're just starting now. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just know that getting to the point where you're actually consistent and dedicated to manifesting is so important for 2020 to turn out as the best and most successful year yet. So manifestation can work in a lot of different ways. You can manifest every day by saying a little chant. You can manifest each and every day by writing down in your journal or just in a notebook a few affirmations where you say, for instance, I am successful, I am a successful YouTuber, I am a successful banker, I am the best teacher in the world. Whatever it is, make sure that it is uplifting. Whatever it is that you want to write down, make sure that you're saying it in the present tense, because when you do all of these I am phrases, that is when it starts reprogramming how you feel and think about yourself subconsciously, and that is what you become. If right now your mind subconsciously is filled with a bunch of I am phrases that are dimming your light, that are putting you kind of down, or saying like, oh, I am unsure, or I am afraid, then that is what will transcend and transpire into your life. A lot of fear that's holding you back, a lot of anxiety, and just a lot of situations where you're unable to move forward because you're like a deer caught in headlights, if you know what I mean, group number 3. But you can change that. Use affirmations, use manifestation, allow yourself to fight against it. Okay, let's see what else we got. We have a trust. So one thing that I see here is being patient enough during this process in 2020 where you're overcoming doubts as well as insecurities. So group number 3, know that it can take a little bit of time. I know this from personal experience, like saying to myself, I am beautiful, I am successful, I am just amazing. You know, it sounds cringeworthy, it sounds really weird, but when you start getting used to saying these things about yourself, it really starts to become normal. You really start to think of yourself as this person that you want to become. For instance, being somebody who is spiritually very wealthy and affluent. At the beginning, I did not really feel that way, but now that I've worked on it, that I've used affirmations, and that I've given myself the patience to get to this point, this is me. This is the new who I have become, who I have changed and evolved into, and the evolution continues. We all go through evolution, and I want you not to be afraid of what other people may think in 2020. You can have the best year so long as you leave other people's opinions outside of the door, leave other people's perspective far away from you, because when there's a lot of change happening with you, it can awaken insecurity in the people around you, and they may voice that with concern. They may voice that by saying, oh, well, are you really sure? And they don't realize how much insecurity and anxiety that can put into you, and how many people in this lifetime, in past lifetimes, have failed to chase their dreams or have failed to accomplish how much they actually could have accomplished because of friends and family who were concerned, putting a lot of fear and doubt into their mind. So keep a lot of things to yourself as well. That is one thing that I see in trust. Like, trust that you know what you want, and you don't need anybody's approval in order to do these things, in order to go after them. Trust that you know what is best for you, and that anybody else can do what they want to do. But let's move further into your reading. We have contemplation. So in contemplation here, I see that you have to relinquish a little bit of control. I see that control may be something that you struggle with at times, because you may think to yourself, group number 3, if I want it done, I'll just do it myself. And yes, in certain cases that is true, I must admit, but there are also certain things where it's best to leave it to somebody else, to an expert, to someone who wants to help you. So allow that to prevail a little more in 2020. I know it's really hard to get out of that comfort zone where you have control, where you're able to steer the situation into certain areas, but I also see that it is very tiring for you. I see here that, in the 9 as well as the 10, we're here close to completion, and also on a stress level, you're close to a point where maybe there is a burnout around the corner, maybe there is a situation where there's just an emotional breakdown because you've got so much on your plate. So give yourself silence and allow yourself to give other people chores that they can help you with, especially if they're offering, because a lot of times we have friends and family offering to help us, and we're too shy to actually make use of the help. But don't allow that to happen in 2020. You don't need this sort of breakdown. You don't need to feel helpless and like there's more work than you can really do. Allow yourself to know that there is an alternative option here for you, group number 3. Then we have intention. So group number 3, you have to do a lot of intention setting. Get out, a pen, a paper, do a little mind map. Also, creating a goal board is one of the best things that I have ever done. And that is one thing that I vouch for, group number 3. You will not regret creating a goal board. So what is a goal board? So a goal board is basically where you take this, it could be a board, it could be a piece of paper, and you cut out photos of what you want in 2020. You cut out goals. So that could, for instance, be a vacation. So you're going to cut out a photo of a beach or a city that you want to go to. That could be, for instance, a certain number in your salary. So you're going to write that down, or cut out a picture of a fake paycheck, and you're going to stick all of these things that you want to accomplish onto your goal board. And what really helps is to add photos of yourself as well. So if you have done something in the past that you want to do again, then put that on there. So for instance, a happy relationship or a fun time with your friends and family, put photos of those memories onto the goal board just to set the mood, make it more personal, and allow yourself to make intention setting a lot easier. And this ties in really beautifully as well with manifestation. Creating a goal board is so valuable to manifesting. It is so valuable to actually achieving your goals, more valuable than people realize. So invest a little bit of time in this and look at it each and every day. Put it somewhere where you can see it and just watch your life change before your eyes. It's actually really crazy. Then we have isolation as well as the throat portal. So group number 3, I'm a little concerned here with a certain aspect of your reading, and that is contemplation as well as isolation. So in isolation, there is a sense of loneliness, there is a sense of disconnect. And that is one thing that I want you to look out for. The way how you can make 2020 the best year yet is to put yourself out there, okay? Allow yourself to spend now more time with friends and family, more time than in 2019. Allow yourself to not be alone more than necessary. So when you're alone, take that time to, as I said, manifest, create goal boards to really recuperate, but don't spend time alone just to spend time alone or just because you're not in the mood to be around people. Especially if you're an introvert, it can be really tough to make the decision to go out there and spend time with people. Trust me, I know, because it is just draining to you. It can be dreadful, it can be scary, it can cause anxiety. But for 2020, just socializing is very important, putting in the work to up your social skills, because that will put you in a spot where you're more comfortable to converse with people, where you're more comfortable at your job, more comfortable in life in general, in social settings, and that will alleviate a lot of the stressors, a lot of the anxiety that you have been battling with. You're going to be baffled, okay? You're not even going to realize how much just being more comfortable in a social setting can affect your entire life. So don't let this pass you by, group number 3. This is really important. Then we have the heart portal as well as the third eye portal. So we have a lot of portals going on here. We have a lot of your chakras being affected, and in the throat chakra, which I completely skipped over and added another 2 cards. I want you to know here in your throat portal or throat chakra, you have to speak your truth, but also say it in a way how it's constructive. And speaking your truth, there are many different ways how you could do this. I always think the best way to do it is to consider another person's perspective as well as feelings, and it is hard to have that skill. It is something that you may have to remind yourself of over and over again, and that is something that I personally struggle with. I don't know why I just hit myself so hard on the chest, but I'm just trying to say I struggle with that so much. So I get you if that is something that you struggle with, because you just have something in your head, you don't mean it in a malicious way, and you just want to say it, you just want to put it out there. So I get you, group number 3. But know here that it is important for you to try and always consider how somebody else might take it before you speak. That will make 2020 a lot easier on the drama side. And in the heart portal, be generous. I see that it's very important for you to give more in 2020. So if you've always wanted to do something for your community, for a certain charitable project, if you've always wanted to do something where you're just being selfless, 2020 is the year. You have to stock up on that good karma, because the year after that may be a bit more difficult as to where you maybe cannot carve out the time or the financial means to be doing that. You know, there are different reasons why we can't get to helping people, but there are also so many accessible ways to do something in this world. There's so many apps, there's so many search engines that plant trees. I can't even remember what it's called, but there is a search engine where each time you use it, I think like every 20-30 searches, the ad revenue that they get, that search engine, they use that to plant trees, which is amazing. So as I said, there's so many accessible free ways that don't cost time or money really, where you can do something in 2020. So make sure that you start looking into that. And in the third eye portal, one thing that I see here is a lot of clairvoyance and just a lot of clarity in information that you may have been missing for 2020. So this could be in love. Maybe there is information or just sort of a situation that has been confusing you, but it's going to be all cleared up, and you're going to all of a sudden see people and see things for who they are. And it may want to make you speak up. It may want to make you say, hey, that is so wrong of you to do that. But be strategic, okay? Use your throat chakra sparingly in 2020 and allow yourself to just see and take in, because the less you speak, the less you're just out there blurting things out, the more you can see people and situations for who they are, and the more you can learn, and then in turn actually be able to take the action required to get the best possible result in 2020. So be it in your close relationships, be it at your work, be it just in public. Allow yourself to take in more information and then you release. So group number 3, this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful, and that a few of these points really hit home. Let me know down below. And if you're new to my channel, do not forget to subscribe if you made it all the way to this point. Who are we kidding? Join the Unicorn fam, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello group number 4, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Black Obsidian group number 4, and I'm going to get straight into your reading to help you figure out how you can make 2020 the best year of your life yet. So first and foremost, we have the Knight of Shells. So in the Knight of Shells, I see here that it's very important for you to turn on your charm and make sure that you add passion into everything that you do. So maybe you feel like you're not charming at all, group number 4. Maybe you feel like your social skills aren't that great, or you're just not that charismatic, but that is not true, okay? Charm and charisma is something that you can also learn, that you can become better at. And a way how you can do that is through researching, is through learning what you can do in terms of body language as well as speech, just how you present yourself to amp that up, as I can see in the year of 2020. That will bring a lot into your life in your career. It will bring a lot into your life in love that you may have not expected to attract just because you're not used to the new charismatic you. So moving further into your reading, in the Two of Shells, there is union, there is harmony. So this definitely vouches for an amazing love life in the year of 2020, group number 4. And I want you to know here that just allowing yourself to be more of you and to make sure that you're a version of you that is, I don't want to say refined, but in a way you have looked into how you can really make your features stand out and how you can really make what is naturally you just glow, okay? So I'm not telling you to change. I'm just saying embrace who you are. If you're naturally a very extroverted, quirky, out there kind of person, don't hide it. Don't try and refine that to society's norm. Allow that to just be refined in a way how you're making your quirky side really stand out in the most positive light that you possibly can, because that will just attract so much more harmony. That will make you less insecure. It will allow you to truly know, like, hey, when I enter a room, I know how to work it. So let's move further into your reading, group number 4. We have the Knight of Acorns as well as the Seven of Shells. So we have a lot of shells in here. Okay, we have the Knight of Shells, the Two of Shells, the Seven of Shells. The shells correspond to water signs. So maybe you're a water sign, or that's the energy that is emanating in the year 2020. And know that water shines. Know that water signs are built very close to the water, very close to their emotions, okay? And in the Seven of Shells, I want you to keep in mind that it is important for you to not let your emotions get the best of you, because there are a lot of choices that are going to present themselves for you, a lot of opportunities that will come naturally due to the fact that you're taking a lot of action and your drive is there. That is one thing that I see in the Knight of Acorns. So group number 4, the Knight of Acorns is driven. The Knight of Acorns is fearless and is willing to fulfill some form of duty in order to put more value into this world. And I feel as though that has a lot to do with you. So maybe you're going to finally start a new job, or the position that you're in just makes you feel like you're doing something good, something that this world needs. So maybe you work in the medical field, or you're teaching something, you're providing some sort of value on a platform that helps a lot of people, and that gives you the drive to keep going. That gives you the drive to be like, yes, I'm doing something that is of value. And as I said, there will be choices, and I don't want you to allow your emotions to get the best of you, especially if those choices are maybe not in alignment with what you are currently doing. So if you're currently teaching and a choice presents itself where you can maybe, instead of teaching a whole group of people, just teach one person, and you're thinking to yourself, well, right now I'm kind of providing value to so many people, I want to make it more accessible to a lot of people, and I understand that, but at the same time, If this new option that presents itself in the Seven of Shells is one where you may be teaching less people, but it could be more impactful for that person, or maybe there is some sort of gain for you where you can then in turn give 10 times more back, like better pay, which means that you will be able to start your own foundation, or you will be able to donate more, to help more in your community because maybe the hours are better. So don't beat yourself up about the choice that you truly want to make, and don't like judge yourself, okay? Group number 4, that is one thing that I see as a big thing that you need to avoid, judging yourself. But let's see what else is up. We have the 10 of Crystals, as well as the 8 of Feathers. So one thing that I see here in the 8 of Feathers is the fact that you have to be solution oriented in 2020, okay? There's going to be people testing you. There are going to be people who are not only testing your patience, but they're also going to like boop you as many times as they can in order to find out how many times do I really need to boop this person, how many times do I really need to boop him or her till they explode. But you are not going to do that, okay? Detonation is not you in 2020. All of that petty stuff is so left behind. It is so 2015. I'm just like saying some year. And right now what you are approaching is more stability. In the year 2020, I see here that building stability and a foundation, that is what is important. That is where your focus should go. So not focusing on petty things like, for instance, how people feel about you, what they think about your choices. That is so 2000 and late. In 2020, it is all about building your future and your security. So if you've always wanted children, 2020 is now for you to build your career, to make sure that you have a stable income, or you know exactly what the next steps are. If you already have children and you just want to maintain some form of foundation here where nothing can shake it, focus on building multiple streams of revenue where if something happens to your main income, you're not completely lost. You know, 2020 is all about looking at where you stand in life and saying to yourself, okay, if worst case scenario were to happen, what am I going to do? Because I feel as though in 2020, a lot of people rely on you. That is one thing that I see in the 2 of Shells, which is not only romantic and love, but it also has to do with your other relationships. And a lot of people expect a lot out of you. And I always tell you to go after what you want, not what people expect. But when we have people relying on us, such as children, pets, maybe people who are now older or who have some form of disability where you are the one to help them, of course, then you can't just go out on your own and say, oh, I'll just do whatever I want. Like, that is not it. That is not the vibe. The vibe is basically building stability as to if you don't have time or maybe finances become a little tougher, how can you build something in order to avoid everything just crumbling and, you know, falling to the ground if that happens. So 2020 is a year where I think planning ahead would be amazing for you, group number 4, and just taking the time to know, like, okay, I got this. All I need to do is make sure that I continue taking action and that I continue just using the best traits that I have in order to move forward on my path. Then we have a majestic eminence as well as reflective truth. So one thing that I see here in majestic eminence is the fact that, you know, your divine feminine is one thing that is really going to show in 2020, and in correlation with the reflective truth, I see that you're going to come to realize who you are. You know, maybe you're going to realize, wow, I'm naturally like just this nurturing person, and I've never noticed until now. Or you may notice that, wow, okay, I'm this person who has so much love to give that I need to share this with the world. So just this realization that is going to point you in a new direction in life, where you're going to take on other responsibilities that you may have not taken on in the past, just because you did not know this side of yourself very well, group number 4. But that is changing, and I want you to allow yourself to take the time to really indulge in yourself, to really indulge in getting to know yourself in order to make 2020 the best year ever. And don't be afraid of what you may uncover. Don't be afraid of your shadow side. Okay, what do we have here? We have replenish. So group number 4, 2020 is all about replenishing your strength. It's all about replenishing what you have used during other years or months or weeks. So it may be that you've just been in need of sleep. Okay, do you see how this beautiful lady is just sleeping in these satin sheets? So that may be you. You may have to run out, get yourself some new satin sheets, get yourself some new luxurious bedroom attire, and just sleep a whole lot more. I see that for you, 2020 is not so much about just like burning the midnight oil. Is that how the saying goes? Just like burning the candle at two ends. For you, it's more about balance. For you, it's more about replenishing who you are and replenishing just the strength within you, because it's been depleted. You're going to need strength for the things that are important, for the big choices, and you have just been spreading yourself too thin. You're like a little toast that barely has any jam on it. Like you can't even taste the flavor anymore, okay? So group number 4, don't be the toast where you can barely taste the flavor, like a big piece of toast with barely anything on there, like a tiny layer of peanut butter or jam or whatever you like. Be the maybe smaller piece of toast, but that is flavorful, the smaller piece of toast that is more desirable. So instead of giving people like big chunks of yourself, instead of giving the world just a big chunk of you, but it's kind of just what's left of you, give the world really the best, okay? Even if it's in smaller doses, make sure that you're giving your friends, your family, yourself, the world, the best part of you, not just what's left of you, you know? And then we have give back. So group number 4, it is inherently clear that you have to do something to give back. You have to do something that is completely selfless for the year 2020. I see that that is something that will benefit you greatly. That is something that will make the year amazing. And not just because you're taking care of your karma, not just because you're being a good person, but because you will actually come to value your life so much more, and you will come to value your situation so much more. And sometimes we just need that. Sometimes we just need to be actually shown poverty or people who have other struggles in life to realize what we have in ourselves. So that does not diminish your struggles whatsoever. You know, looking at somebody who has a completely different struggle than you do, maybe financially, maybe physically, maybe mentally, that doesn't mean like, oh, because this person is struggling, that means my struggles are not worth anything, or because this person can't even fulfill their own basic human needs and needs help for everything. That doesn't mean that you're not entitled to struggles, that you're not entitled to feeling dissatisfaction sometimes, but that just means that maybe you can appreciate the things that you are able to do so much more, that they outweigh the things that bug you, that they outweigh the things where you feel like you're struggling. You get what I mean, group number 4? So it's just this divine shift in perspective that changes your entire aura, your entire being, and just the entire vibe of your life, where gratefulness is what prevails instead of every little obstacle, every little part where you stumble being a big deal. So let's move into your last card. We have a release. So group number 4, to make 2020 the best year yet, you have to let go. Let go of this toxic relationship, if there is one, because there is a new one on the horizon. Let go of the fear of making the wrong choice, if that is one thing where you always let so much time pass by until you actually make up your mind that the choice is maybe not as good anymore, or it's actually completely gone. Don't allow that to prevail ever again, group number 4. It's so important for you to release anything that has been holding you back. And it can be really hard, especially if it has to do with close friends and family that have been in your life for a long time. And I'm not telling you to completely cut the cords or cut the ties, but maybe just cut the power which they hold over you and your decisions. Maybe just cut the power and the weight that their opinions hold, especially if they haven't accomplished what you're trying to accomplish. There's probably more sense in listening to somebody who has gone down the path that you're trying to go down than to listen to somebody who is just fearful of you trying something new. You get what I'm saying, group number 4? So group number 4, this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that it gave you a little bit of peace of mind as well as motivation. Let me know down below in the comment section what really hit home. And furthermore, if you're new to my channel and you've made it all the way up until this point of the reading, who are we kidding? You need to be a part of the Unicorn fam. So click that subscribe button and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos.